Holy crap, this show was a drag. Hey everybody, I'm sorry that I've been delaying this one. It's not because the show was god awful, but I've been sick, as you can tell by my voice, but I've been doing a lot better. Hopefully, I can um get through this without being too sick. But let's just kick it off. Razor Ramon defeated Ted DiBiase. You would think that these two would have great chemistry. They don't. And yeah, this is just a testament of it. And it was just whatever. At this point, Ted DiBiase was slowly fusing out of in-ring competition and slowly becoming a manager. So at least they gave Razor Ramon the victory there. I could say that. The Steiner Bros defeated the Heavenly Bodies. At this point, the Steiner Brothers were killing it. They were one of the greatest tag teams and one of the saviors of 1993. But that's the only positive I can give this entire show, is that this match was good, and it wasn't even that great. It was just whatever. Shawn Michaels defeated Mr. Perfect, and I would think that this would be one of the best matches of the night, but instead, no. Instead, you have Shawn Michaels ending in a countout. He was being such a coward, chicken shit heel around this time. And then Mr. Perfect doesn't wrestle that good as a babyface. He always gives me heel vibes. So when you have two heels clashing, the style just doesn't work for both men, unfortunately. And because of it, this match failed. And I wasn't a big fan of this match. Sorry. IRS defeated the 1-2-3 Kid because reasons. They really loved the 1-2-3 Kid around this time. They were giving him somewhat of a push, but he wasn't gonna beat guys like IRS and all this stuff, but whatever. Um, IRS gets the victory. Moving on. Now, what was supposed to be Bret the Hitman Hart versus Jerry the King Lawler ends up switching because Jerry the King Lawler says, "I have a substitute opponent for you," and that becomes Doink the Clown. Bret and Doink end up having a solid match up until Jerry the King interferes, costing Bret the match, and then they say, "You know what? Jerry King Lawler is cleared. Jerry and Bret, you guys will fight," and then we get this match, and it was bad. It ends in a DQ. Jerry wins. Technically, Jerry the King Lawler beat Bret the Hitman Hart. Even the guy that we all consider Mr. SummerSlam, Bret Hart, couldn't even save this abomination. It was stupid. It was pathetic, and it was just filler up until Bret Hart for him to eventually become WWF champion again. Undertaker beats Giant Gonzalez in a rest in peace match. It was just basically whoever hits their finisher first. Uh, this dragged on for 8 minutes. How we learned nothing from the original match and how awful that was. It's this is just stupid. I hated this. Yeah, this is actually worse than the WrestleMania 9. At least that one was at WrestleMania. But then we have shockingly the second best match of the show, Tatanka and the Smoking Guns beating Bam Bam Bigelow and the Head Shrinkers. You would think that all six of these competitors would have been doing something much better on the show, and instead they just throw them together in a six-man tag team match, which was a solid match nonetheless, but I wish they all did something much better on the show. But anyways, we move on to the main event, finally. Yokozuna versus Lex Luger for the WWF Championship. And around this time, people were hating on Lex Luger because he was the WCW guy. He was the enemy, and they were going to give him the push and have him dethrone Yokozuna, which thankfully they didn't. But they didn't want him to look weak. So instead, they have Yokozuna and Lex Luger drag out this 20-minute, what felt like 20 minutes, match. And it ends with Yokozuna getting counted out. Lex Luger stands tall. Everybody raises him up like he won the belt, and it was just so stupid. This entire show was a drag. It gets an F. 1993 was a terrible year for the WWF, and this was further proof of it. Anyways, wish me luck. 1994 is slightly better. Let's see how that goes.